As of like 20 seconds ago, I started this video, but apparently my stupid little thing didn't. By stupid little thing, I mean OBS. Just refused to pick up my voice. Headphone not connected or whatever. Anyway, I am here this time, and what I was going to say before I got thoroughly sidetracked was that I had intended to have this video out by yesterday, and by have this video out, I mean have created this video at all. Instead, I stood up till 12 because of, whatever, don't matter. But I did stay up till 12 instead, and not make a video. So now I'm here to make a video before it's 12, and maybe that'll fix everything, who knows. Lord knows I could use some better sleep. I'm gonna stay up till night editing this, whatever, who cares. So, fun thing aside, um, if you saw the post, the reason why I wanted to have this video out by yesterday was so that I can start fucking focusing on that stupid little world building project and figure out how to do all that stuff. Instead, I delayed it, and now here we are. Like I've mentioned in a few videos by now, if you didn't know, you should have already, but it's too late to vote. But you can still steer it in a direction you'd like to see, just leave comments. Is that I'm going to make a world building project where I'm going to actually try to create the project itself rather than just talk about world building on the whole. Low fantasy. So if you have any ideas or suggestions for what could be involved in that world, go ahead and throw them into that little community post's comments. One person did already, and to that I am very thankful. And anyway, for the purposes of this video, anything I'm going to talk about will be in the description below, as is usual. And I'm listening to the Mechanicus 2 OST in the background. It's not going to be picked up, of course, but that's just what I'm listening to on loop. Rage of the Praetorians. I've not played Mechanicus 2 yet, because my computer is shit, and it's actually a laptop. It would fucking explode if I tried to boot that game up. But I've been replaying first Mechanicus and loving it all over again, despite how buggy it is. I've only gotten better at that game, believe you me. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, for the purposes of this video, everything description below as is usual. Let me know anything else, video ideas too. Another reason why this video took a day longer than it should have to make is because I should have had the fucking video ideas, dude. I got literally nothing. This was so last minute that I finished the notes and then immediately jumped over to OBS to try to record this. Because, what else am I gonna do with my free time? Anyway, let's get started. In my notes, it's called "A World That Wants to Kill You" because I remember what I saw. It was like, I don't remember. I thought it would be a cool idea, so I'm gonna start talking about it. What do I mean by a world that wants to kill you? Well, do you know this weird? Have you ever noticed this weird trend in like horror related like writing spaces, I guess? Or like horror related world building, where it almost feels like humans dropped in this place out of nowhere because of how genuinely horrifically dangerous and violent every single thing in the local space is to people, just fucking on site for literally no reason. That's what I'm thinking of. Shit like the stuff that came out of The Mist in The Mist. I'm sorry to admit that I've only seen the movie for that one, same with Annihilation. I should get those books soon. Because my birthday is this month. Has it passed? Is it going to happen? You don't know unless you're my friend. Um, I should get those for myself. Anyway, what was I doing? Right. I thought about that and I was like, huh, that's kind of funny. And uh, despite being pretty strange when you think about it on the meta level, that's like really fun though, right? That's like really fun for your story. All these intriguing creatures and plants and fucking events that are just blatantly hostile. Like Stalker, right? Like the Stalker world. Or I guess like like the Chernobyl exclusion zone in the Stalker universe. How there's the different mutants and the different anomalies and emissions, right? Or the mutants in Metro. Or the mutants of Fallout. bunch of shit like that. I don't know. I think it's fun, so I'm gonna start talking about those now. Let's see, which one would be a good thing to start with? Let's start with this one then. I say typing with my fucking screwdriver, I guess. Does it feel out of sync with everything else? Remember how I said literally like 2 minutes ago, it kind of feels like humans just dropped in out of nowhere because of how unbelievably violent everything is, the humans on site. You know, my loosely quoting myself. Do you want that to happen? Like, it could be narratively significant, of course. I don't know the ins and outs of your world and its story and what's happening there, but it could be narratively significant that this one place specifically is very bizarre and hostile to humans as like a way to ward off threats. Like for example, the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Stalker, because in the Stalker series, only that area of Ukraine. Maybe Ukraine. No, no, just the area in Ukraine. Just Pripyat. No, it's larger than whatever. Point being, only the zone in Stalker is affected by shit in the zone. Artifacts that come out just lose their potency, which is a very big plot point in Stalker 2. And that is not a spoiler because it literally happens in the prologue or the opening exposition. But, you know, you could have it be like this one place is your pretty much forbidden forest or cave or mountains or whatever, Underdark even if you're going for like a D&D setting or even just D&D in general. Shit's fucked over there. But you could have this one specific place be so bizarre, be so otherworldly, be so what insert adjective here because of how aggressive, I guess, everything is. I'm gonna figure out a new word for that soon, but hostile, I guess. Everything is to in regards to human life. It's unable to sustain it. Things of that nature. Right? I think that could be fun. I think that could be a nice angle to take these things, and I think that does give you some room to work with, especially if you're making it abundantly clear this place in specific is fucking insane, letting you have pretty much free reign to do whatever you want, right? I think that could be a good thing. But, of course, get that locked down right now, as I want to do. Make your little skeleton plot, story outlines, whatever. Make your writer's notes, like little world building Bibles, whatever. And cement in right now, is this the norm for my world? If it's the norm for my world, how will people adapt to this, which we'll get into later? If it's not the norm for my world, why? Give yourself a few examples, something to work with, a little basis to build off of, and then go fucking insane, dog. Do whatever you want. This is your time to go absolutely crazy with creature design, absolutely crazy with environment design, absolutely crazy with plant design, weather even interesting weather patterns. Make an interesting map if that's the stuff you like doing. I don't understand why you like making maps, but if you like making maps, go crazy, dog. This is you. This is your time to shine. This is your time to really delve into the nitty gritty of your craft, whether or not it's going to be reflected on in the whole of your story, because hey, remember, I'm presuming you're writing a story, and you know what's important for those? Plots and narrative through lines. So don't forget, you are still writing a story, presumably, and that you should give yourself room to explore that and not just do exposition dumping on your poor hapless readers, which is something I think I saw in the world building subreddit. Someone was like, "Holy shit! I've spent 2 years on this story," and my beta reader just told me how everything just feels like a Wikipedia article. You know, have you seen that thing? Hold on, let me get some water. Ugh. Eh, ugh. Anyway, where was I? Sorry, I was trying to find the post on World Building. I think it was like this week. Mm, oh, that's sick as fuck. Anyway, just get everything in a row just to establish everything. Yep, here it is. By business underscore fox underscore 7784. Poor bastard. Anyway, get everything in order for yourself in order to understand exactly what you're going to write and how. Maybe not exactly, but get the broad strokes so that you can work within. Now, I guess that aligns with what purpose is this even being done for, though in this case it's more of a narrative purpose or world building purpose. Are you trying to do something specific when you make this? You know the classic precursor ideas where there's this precursor race, faction, group, entity, what have you, that have usually really hyper advanced technology, architecture, whatever, stands the test of time for millennia, overtaken by nature or entropy or whatever, and it's super dangerous but holds the MacGuffin or what have you. Are you doing something like that? Which, despite my, I guess, dismissive and like explanation of that trope or whatever, I am still kind of fond of. I'm a sucker for a classic precursor civilization story. One in particular jumps out to me that happened during the 9K contest that either almost or did make me cry. Why am I not logged into my fucking wiki account? Did Google update or something? Did it? Uh, SCP-9300, Where Gods Fell. Revolves around a lot of that. It's a space opera story. If you were there when I read the file, you know how much I adored this one. It was amazing. Big props to Gemini Districts and Astral Navigator for SCP-9300. I am a huge fan of this one. This one was really fun. And has what I described. Kind of, partially, a little bit. You'll see when you read it because you're going to read it because it's really good. Please, you probably won't regret it. Even I, a man who does not like space opera stories, thought it was one of the best of the contest. And that was when it was going up against heavy hitters like The Trench. Damn, that one was fucking, it was good, you know? That was like a really, really good one. And Anamnesis, however the fuck you say that one was also really good. I still feel bad about that one because I was like really mad during it because it was so long and my throat was tearing itself in half. Anyway, or you could just, or if it's like a world building project instead of like a full story, you could just be doing this for the fucking hell of it, dog. Just to see, how much can I push my own setting and have it still thematically, be consistent and what have you. I think is really fun. Or it could just represent increase, is that the word? A escalation, that's the word I'm looking for. An escalation of the threats of your story setting world. This could represent, a reflection of the main character's like growth and accomplishments and achievements that they must now tackle on this new additional challenge or what have you. Or hell, it could even be as a result of whatever the main character did. Say you're doing a series or something, or like a sequel or what have you. Maybe, as I sip more water because my throat is very sore, maybe this little ecosystem environment that wants to fucking kill everyone could be as a result of whatever the hell their protagonists or little crew of merry folks did in the first story. Immediately jumps to mind is like bio research for some reason. Resident Evil shit. I'm not big on I'm not big on like what is the fucking word? Gene editing? Well, obviously, I'm not gonna give myself more arms tech freestyle. Let's just say that. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, you can do a lot with the idea that there is this one location that is mega hostile. You can do a lot to fit your story specifically. Again, I can't give you everything you need for here because, believe it or not, I don't know your story. I don't know your world building project. I would still love to hear about it, though. I am, as we've established, a huge fucking loser. Um, anyway, so here's one of my favorite things to get down right. Natural or otherwise. Pretty self-explanatory, but let me explain it regardless. So, natural or otherwise actually means two things, because I thought of the second one right now. The first one I intended was like, is this just something that happened, period, end of story, or is this something that was triggered by some sort of other cause? The first thing that came to mind was global warming for some reason, which I guess does fit given weather patterns and whatnot. But is this something that just happened out of the blue? Is this just how your world fucking works for whatever reason? Oh, fucking dropped my phone. That wasn't supposed to happen. Whoops. Right on the charging cable, too. Hope that didn't fuck it. Oh, yeah, that's crooked. That's not good. Fun. What is it? Right. Is this just how your world works in general? They're just monsters roaming the countryside that take a small army to conquer? That's fun. That's cool. I like that. Or was it caused by a wizard? Or magic, or not magic, I meant or technology. Nanites or some fucking shit like a bio weapon gone rogue and shit. Because remember, magic and technology are indistinguishable on the extremes. It's the horseshoe theory thing. No, it isn't. What would it? It's a double bubble map. That's a hor. If they're indistinguishable on the extremes, sufficiently high level magic is indistinguishable from sufficiently high level technology. Nanites are magic, at least how they're utilized in a lot of stories, is the point I'm trying to make here. I'm gesturing with my screwdriver throughout this entire video. Imagine me with the screwdriver in my hand, pointing and gesturing and whatnot. And that's me right now in the real life. Anyway. Or the other way I can mean natural otherwise is like, are these all bio shit? I.e., weird hybrids born of like cloning labs or something? Or is it like robots and shit? Big robots. I am not a robots fan. I'm not the biggest fan of robots. Ignore that I'm listening to Mechanicus 2 soundtrack right now. The part I like about the AdMech is how fucking weird they are, so I mean, I guess that fits. I'm not the biggest fan of like robots in general. I'm not a mech fan, unless the mech is just an exosuit, in which case you'll not find a bigger mech fan than I. Especially if it's like diesel powered. Ooh, that's fun. But where was I? Diesel or steam powered. Where was I? Right. These could be biological abominations or they could be technological abominations like gray goo. If you don't know what gray goo is, it's the idea of a self-replicating construct that consumes material to self-replicate. Unchecked. Gray goo will just it's the classic. Is this the classic? No. It's the Tyranid of robots, if that makes sense to you, and if that makes sense to you, fucking loser. Also, that's a little sad that made sense to you. Anyway, is this gray goo or is this biological? Is what I meant to say. I am correct in that metaphor, right? Gray goo is hypothetical. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Out of control self-replicating machines consume all biomass and whatever to self-replicate. Yeah, I got that right. Hooray! Obviously, establish this right now because what do you find more entertaining? What do you like writing? Is this going to be a synthesis of the two or three, or is this going to borrow more from one than the other? Are you going to exclude one thing in its entirety because it simply does not fit your setting, or are you going to add elements of that to your setting for the exact reason of it not fitting your setting, which makes the implementation of it stand out just that much more. Like in high school, that one girl that was only friends with ugly ones to make herself look prettier. We all knew the person like that. Come on, let's be honest. Anyway, where was I? By the way, I didn't talk to women in high school or in college or middle school or hmm. But get all this done right now so that way it's harder to veer off course, which is a good thing. We like to narrow our focus around here, around these parts in this YouTube channel. I think things can only be amplified by a narrowing of this of the focus. The world building potential of okay. Uh, I do this thing where I siphon ideas from my friends. Or I tell them what I'm doing in the hopes that they give me an idea while I'm doing it. And out of nowhere, he hits me with the fucking. You could talk about the world building potential of Venus and Mars with their maps if they had liquid water like Earth. And now I need to look up a map of Venus. Or I'm gonna. Okay, did that pick up over the mic? I'm snapping. Hold on, let me do it one more time. Okay. Ah, that was me to peak the audio. I need you to edit right here. Map of Venus and Mars, like the surface of them. Holy shit! Wait, that actually is awesome. All right, now map of Mars. Oh, I see it. Oh, I see it so hard. Oh my God, I see it perfectly. I understand exactly what he means. I don't know if I'm gonna get into that right now. Um, I might get into when I talk environment, because I completely neglected that aside from weather. No, that is appreciated immensely, dog. Anyway, now let's start getting onto the things. First, I want to establish two things. Whenever I hear hostile environment, two things jump to mind, whether or not they deserve it, and likely the same for you. That being swamps or wetlands in general, and deserts. Now, I adore swamps and wetlands in general, the same way I adore deserts, if you could believe it or not. I find them to be incredibly interesting, like locations for different, environmental adaptation, which is can be, but the same can be said for every single biome or environment on Earth, right? Tundras, deserts, wetlands, forests, grasslands, savannas, they're all incredibly interesting in the way they apply pressures to have organisms adapt and evolve over time. My favorites, however, are wetlands and deserts. Now, I'm not an environmental scientist, not even like bird watching as a hobby or shit like that. I can't tell you the gritty details, nor do I know them, but they are my favorite regardless. My favorite part about wetlands, that I can tell you this much, is I like that they're pretty much a synthesis of like land and sea, to an extent, of course. Coastlines, not the most, they're pretty defined, right? We have this shallow or deep, like water environment, giving us our array of fish and crabs. And I'm trying to remember quickly. Yes, I do believe mollusks are there, like clams and shit, because I think they're just universal. I'm trying to remember what I've seen. Anyway, and you get the like some of the what people would consider interesting terrestrial plants, such as trees and flowers in general, right? Sitting there in the environment. Then you get all sorts of interesting animals because swamps are a lot more than just mosquitoes don't starve together, and also other people in general. Swamps are a lot more than just gross insects and mosquitoes. They have a vast array of birds. They have a vast array of terrestrial animals. They have a vast array of aquatic, but non-water breathing animals. Like, I don't think I'd really consider an alligator semi-aquatic. I know technically it is, but given that its whole lifestyle revolves around being in the water, I think I would call that aquatic, though I'm pretty sure that isn't correct in terms of classification. Otters, right? I'm trying to immediately think of more animals, but I'm drawing a blank because I'm just thinking about like that stupid fish that crawled out of the fucking grate uh Cambrian waters, the one what caused all of us to evolve and whatnot. I don't think they were swamp dwelling, but anyway, swamps are such an interesting environment to me because of all these different things meshing together to create this one like incredibly active ecosystem and very successful one at that. Like a lot of estuaries and important fish nurseries and like juvenile habitats or habitats for juvenile animals are like abundant in swamps. From what I know, same way coral reefs are that in the deep ocean, the swamp is that for like one of these like in I guess like inland environments, locations, what have you. I super love them. They're a bevy of activity, and there's this really cool channel that I found through creating a wetland called what was it? Oh fuck. Oh no, I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting. Hold on. Is it just Planet Earth? No, it isn't. It isn't. Is it Project? Okay, it's like Project. Is it Project Earth? Hold on. I'm gonna pause until I find this thing because I really do want to shout them. How could I have forgotten? It's Mossy Earth. I found them through their video 2 years ago. We flooded a forest. Now it's full of life. They have incredibly interesting videos of how they're developing and rewilding different habitats to suit their unique needs. If you want an example for proper like biodiversity and like explanation of these different environments for your world building for your settings, this is an amazing resource. They're also a subscription place where you can like donate money to them so they can directly use the money to fund rewilding these, ecosystems, return them back to a more natural state to help the environment and even the human population surrounding them. I saw the video how we're reviving an ancient Icelandic wetland, Icelandic deserts. The coral reef video, like the continuous project of the coral reef, is amazing, and I've been loving keeping up with that. And there's just so many interesting videos here, and it's a great like resource you could use right now that is entertaining for all of these diverse different ecosystems in a natural state. I love it. I don't believe, well, aside from, we're reclaiming Iceland's deserts, but an Icelandic desert is very different than what you think of when you immediately think of a desert, which is like an arid desert. Like the Mojave, like the Sonoran, like the Sahara Desert. How did I almost forget the Sahara Desert? I love those too, just because the animals there are fucking hilarious looking half the time. But it is kind of interesting, isn't it? The desert is a place that's not like it's not actively trying to kill you. It just is killing you with like little effort. The sun is gonna fucking bake you alive in the desert. It's a challenge to even feed and hydrate yourself there. But these animals continue to do it regardless. You think of the weird ways they have to cool their bodies. It's just like having their blood vessels all up like shallow by their skin and all the fucking hilariously large ears some of the rodents and I guess even foxes have. What is a fox? It's a vulpine? Something like that? The the all the different little burrowing techniques that different reptiles and birds have. But if okay, butcher birds are a desert bird, right? I also like that bird. It's a fucking freak. Where do butcher birds live? Let's see here. If I can really quickly get a tropical rainforest to shrubland. Oh shit, they just live anywhere, huh? I feel like I remember watching like an old like documentary that probably had David Attenborough uh voicing over it. He hit 100 recently, didn't he? David Attenborough. Yeah. Yeah. Like 2 weeks ago he hit 100. He's still alive, which I'm very happy about. It would be a shame to see that man go. He is amazing. I love his voice and the shit he does. Don't ruin him for me. I don't know. I don't want to hear about if he killed someone like 40 years ago or something. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing like a butcher bird in one of those documentaries in their desert episode. Hmm. What the fuck am I even saying right now? What is the point of all this? The point of all this to say is like deserts are like the premier thing in your head right there you're thinking of when you think of a hostile environment. For a damn good reason. Like I already mentioned, difficult to feed and water yourself. Difficult to stand the weather conditions. The most obvious one being the killer sun. It's going to bake you alive, dehydrate you, and leave you tired and just ready to collapse right then and there. Another hidden one is sand. Obviously. It's rough, it's coarse, it gets everywhere, and it's irritating. Sandstorms will peel the fucking skin from you if you're caught in them. Sand traps can, like, leave you tired and exhausted if you're trying to get out. And worst of all, sand is reflective. You can go blind in the desert, same way you can go blind in the Arctic. And I fucking love that. That's so interesting. There's a reason like desert worlds are the ones that people write about all the time. Something Dune reference. I've not read Dune and I don't really have an interest to either. That book is fucking huge. And I really don't want to start a commitment like that soon. I already have too many commitments. I have this channel, I have my fucking fan fiction, and then the original content I'm writing on the side. Too much shit to do already. Anyway. But as much as I love wetlands for like the ecosystem being incredibly active and needing all of these sort of adaptations to get a leg up on each other, right? Think of like an albatross or something, right? Think of how fish then adapt to that. Think of how alligators take advantage of all of this. Think of how like, not beavers. Well, I guess yeah, beavers, and think of how otters take advantage of their ecosystems. Take advantage of their prey sources, like clams and shit, and how all of that meshes together into this a very incredibly active cycle of life and death and whatnot. Not to get weird about it. But in contrast to wetlands being a good source for like animal and monster inspirations, take an aspect of this real life creature and exaggerate it to hell and back. Deserts are the perfect embodiment of an uncaring environment. The desert could not give less of a fuck if you drop dead right then and there. I know the ocean is like this too, but you're not writing an aquatic story, let's be real with ourselves. You are not writing a story where it takes place on the ocean like Subnautica. Instead, you are playing Subnautica because it's really hard to constantly describe the fucking water. I love the water though. I know how to swim. Not very well, but I can swim. Anyway, let's start chopping these pieces up. I already mentioned weather. Weather as uncaring. People always say that great big ball of fire beaming down on you and how it doesn't care about what it's hitting. And frankly, it doesn't. It's the sun. But what do they mean by that? Uh, well, the obvious thing is, of course, heat stroke, sunburn, and I guess even like wildfires too can be spawned by heat from the sun catching on old dead plant matter, like all dried up and whatnot. But this can go beyond just the sun, right? Obvious. This can go into sudden snowstorms, and if I'm right, maybe potentially probably the background footage of this has me being in a snowstorm in not Frostpunk, fucking The Long Dark, I think. Uh, Another thing that could happen is typhoons, tornadoes, hurricanes, those weird water spouts, but they're probably not gonna have that happen in Story again. You're not on the sea. Rogue waves, right? Rough seas in general. Flash floods. I think I said tornadoes. If I didn't, tornadoes. Earthquakes. Tsunamis. Natural disasters. Now, it's unrealistic to expect these things to happen constantly and continuously, especially one after the other, unless it's earthquake and the tsunami, of course. The classic. Everyone knows that. Does that lead to hurricanes too? I'm trying to remember. Hurricanes are caused by, let's see, okay. No, but typhoons lead to hurricanes, don't they? Pretty sure that's correct. I don't know. Ugh. Freak thunderstorms. Alright, so snowstorms. Dust storms. Sandstorms, which are different. Look into the Dust Bowl, even more so than just being that really ass TF2 map. I like Dust Bowl. Being that really ass TF2 map. Right? Look into like what that shit was. It's fucked up. That shit happened, man. Like recently too. Your grandpa might remember it. I don't know how old your grandpa is. Great grandpa. Now I'm trying to remember. I don't know. Go kick Herbert Hoover's ass. He caused the Dust Bowl as an economic crisis, at least. Well, he didn't help it, rather. I don't remember. Been a bit since I've been in my American history class. Because I'm not taking an American history class. But you know how I sometimes say the best thing you can do for hunger is describe it like an animal? The best thing you can do for weather is describe it like a negligent mother. So I'm sure you have plenty of experience in that regard. High five. It's fair if you don't want to. But what I mean by this is like, there's no maliciousness in a snowstorm. What it does instead is amplifies everything else and makes things 10 times worse. Through no fault of its own, because how could it have fault? It's a snowstorm. It's the resulting effect of the sun heating up the planet at different amounts that cause wind in general. That's where wind comes from I remember from my anatomy teacher. He was a very learned man. He was a doctor. Uh, anyway, what like what I'm trying to really establish here, in general, is to not skimp on the weather itself. It's something we may often forget to describe in our stories. I know I sure should do, but it can do a lot to set a scene, raise stakes, or put that fucker in a situation right now. What's the quote? Put him in a situation. Yeah, put that man in a situation. That's from Tumblr, right? Anyway, but weather is just great at raising stakes, escalating things, or starting them. It could damn well be a reason why something happened. But don't understate its danger, right? Because this shit can be dangerous. Snowstorms, obvious, lost, freezing to death, right? Earthquakes, fucking dying, right? Something collapsing and hitting you, obvious. Typhoon, getting absolutely fucking slobber knocked by a rock going 185 miles per hour. I don't know if that's how fast they go. Same for hurricanes, same for tornadoes, getting struck by lightning, shit like that. Don't understate the danger because this shit is dangerous. I said plants as cows just to fit with this. Oh fuck! I absolutely demolished my knee against my table. I said plants as callous just to keep this sort of like naming convention, naming scheme, but it's just because I don't know. I don't know what they meant by callous, but definitely it's like establish plants as something that can also be hostile, something dangerous. What's the most obvious thing that comes to mind? Obviously poisons and toxins and whatnot. Here's not real advice that you should not, hinge everything based on me, but I think I've read somewhere once before. The way to test like plants and fruits, not fungus, explicitly not fungus, still not advice, but don't do it. Whatever happens, don't. I'm not certified or anything, so I'm trying to say. Pretty sure I remember reading somewhere that like there's a way to test plants, and that is to like touch it with your skin, wait like 5 minutes for any sort of reaction, touch it with more sensitive skin, like the insides of your like wrists, as in like the facing towards you side of your wrists, not literally in you. wait for a reaction. If nothing happens for 5 minutes, and obviously if a reaction happens, that shit's bad. Then touch it to your lips. Wait, nothing. Rub some on the inside of your cheek or gums or something like that. Then wait, and then eat a tiny piece, and then wait like an hour. And if nothing happened, then probably good for you. Or probably fine to eat, rather. Again, not real advice. I'm just some fucking guy. But you weren't going to take that as like real advice. You were just going to put that in a scene and think it's cool, and I agree with you. That's cool. Obviously, the most dangerous thing that comes to mind for anyone is the fact that plants are straight up fucking toxic and can kill you. Triply so for mushrooms. Maybe not triply so, but definitely more so for mushrooms. Which I didn't put down because. Sorry, my throat is closing. I hate being acidic. Um, which I didn't put down because for the purposes of your writing, mushrooms are going to be indistinguishable from plants. I know that I'm making a generalization here, but unless you're writing a field guide to mycology, I feel confident in what I'm saying. Anyway, but more so in the magic or like high level technology side. Plants can just straight up be a threat. They can be something that springs to life to attack the player. Not player, to attack the main character. Most obvious is like, the Tangle from Darkest Dungeon 2. Or like the Spore Carriers from Fallout New Vegas. Those come to mind. Mm. Or if you're a loser fucking asshole hipster, the Spore Plants from Fallout 2. I've played it myself. It's nothing right home about. It's good, but like, it's fine. Mm. But depending on your setting, plants can be the literal, antagonist. Uh, like woads. How do you say that? Woads. Uh, what is a Celtic woad? Oh, I'm thinking of that. Okay, well, how did Celts view homosexuality? Not fully documented. No shit. Uh, wood woad. This is a D&D creature that jumps to mind literally every single time. It's it's like this nature spirit, right? Meant to guard the it's like an ant but more mobile and more humanoid looking. It's like a person's soul infused with a sacred grove or something, and gives it an animated body to defend the woods. Because remember, you could still be writing a story on top of all of this and have shit like that, and have a magically infused forest or whatever that will literally act to defend itself through plant life. Imagine that, a creeper vine wrapping itself around your throat and pulling you down to the roots where you're going to decompose and feed the tree. Ain't that fun? Write that. That's cool. Or it's something fucking weird like the Whomping Willows from Harry Potter or some shit. I don't know. I got nothing. Well, I got nothing because this is where you step in. Because this is world building, this is creature design, this is you doing that because that's the fun part of this little thing that we all do. Huh. Sorry, it's like my throat is so fucking acidic tonight. What the fuck? I didn't even eat recently. Ugh. Anyway, animals is vicious. You know that weird trope that even terrible writing advice parodied, I want to say 6 years ago? Terrible writing advice. And then we click on the channel with my slow ass computer. We scroll down. It's like not writing dinosaurs. It is. Or was it writing dinosaurs? Uh, where is it? Where is the. Was it giant monsters or was it. Holy shit, how many videos does this guy have? I might just now picking that up. Or was it Alien Ecosystem? I don't know. One of his videos, he even like poked fun at this trope that happens constantly, where this alpha creature or like this super dangerous predator hunts down the main characters for the duration of the story, despite people not being worth the energy expenditure, and also actively fighting back in ways that other prey animals wouldn't. Why do I bring this up right now? Because it's something that bothers me and probably bothers a lot of you and may even bother a lot of your audience. Of like, huh, it was cool when Bruno did it in Jaws. That's the shark's name, right? I am pretty sure. Cool when Bruno did it in Jaws, but like, I find it hard to believe this animal tracks them throughout the entire fucking world just to eat specifically them, ignoring the larger herbivorous prey that it could definitely feed on and obviously has been feeding on for a long ass time and whatnot. You may be thinking cheese underscore stick one, but I am simply doing this to establish how aggressive and dangerous the ecosystem is. Sure, the ecosystem is aggressive and dangerous and would likely try to kill your main characters for food or what you're encroaching on its territory or what have you. But these are also still animals that act on animal behaviors and instincts, implying set territories and risk calculation. Because there is a certain point where even a bear will decide, this is fucking stupid, fuck this, I'm going home. Not boars, though. Well, that's an exaggeration, even they do it. But we keep up the joke around here of boars being horrific murder machines. Because they kind of are. They're fucking huge, by the way. Like, they're massive creatures. Like 4 feet tall, something like that. Like several hundred pounds. Fast for their size, too. Horrid creatures. Now, I want to say something right now that I need you to understand. I'm sure you do understand, but I need you to understand. And that is that herbivores are not to be fucked with even a little bit. You're not going to win a fight against the moose. I am because I'm built different, but you're not going to win a fight against a moose. Why would you get into a fight against the moose, you may be asking? It's because moose is used to just not caring. They have their set territory, and if you encroach upon it, they will fucking kill you. They won't gore you, because moose antlers don't do that. They will trample you to death instead. A horrifying way to go out. And yes, they will, like, try to do this. And they will ram your car with their face, because they're used to doing that, because that's just what they do. That's what it's like to be a moose. Why am I highlighting the moose? Because it's a large, bulky herbivore. The same could be said for hippopotamus, though you already know that. The same could be said for elephants, though you already know that. For rhinos, though you already know that. For elk, though you might not know that. Herbivores are likely to flee, yes. But they're also going to try to knock your shit out if they can. The humble goat will kill you because its head is designed to kill you. That's a lie. Its head is designed to lock with the heads of the other ones for display dominance, for like a ritual, like a mating ritual, or like what's the word I'm looking for? Ritualized combat purposes. Emphasis on the combat purposes because a goat will fucking kill you. Do you know how big they are? I saw them in person. They're huge. Their horns are fucking ridiculous. Get it through your head and then get it through your writing that herbivores can still be dangerous. I hate the gentle giant trope for herbivores. The gianter, the more likely it is to want you out of its face right now, and it will crush your fucking ribs to a pulp beneath its hooves if that's what it has to do. Anyway, with all that covered, let's get into cool monster designs. First of all, put spikes on everything. Second of all, make everything eldritch. Third of all, ignore the first two things and do it at your own pace. And fourth of all, don't do that third thing. What am I trying to say here? What fits your story? Do that to the best of your ability. Where can I get inspiration? Look at a real creature and then dial up an aspect of it to 11, be it its behavior or its biology. Like I already mentioned, the butcher bird. What it does is it kills its prey and then butchers it, by which it strings up bits of its meat or whole carcasses on naturally growing spikes, like blackthorn thorns or like cactus spines. Now imagine if it was the size of a cassowary. Do you see where I'm going with that? Like a flayed one that can fly. Anyway, where's that? Think of a turtle's thick armored scutes. Now imagine that on like, trying to think of like a big animal that I like. Now imagine that on a moose. And then ask yourself the following question. Why the fuck would a moose need that? And I don't mean that as in, that's stupid, that's ridiculous. Get that away. No, I mean like, okay, sell me on this. Why would a moose need that? Go fucking crazy. Think of the coolest adaptation in a dinosaur you know, which is obviously the weaponized clubs of ankylosaurids? What's that clade called? Is a stegosaur an ankylosaurid? Is a stegosaur in the ankylosaurus family? No, but stegosaur is in Stegosauridae, while Ankylosaurus is in Ankylosauridae. Yeah, that tracks. Um, Ankylosaurs are rather small, but they're still cool. Think of the coolest adaptation ever, maybe forever. That I don't know if that's rattlesnake tails, I guess. That hasn't really came back in recent. Well, prehensile tails, I guess. That has been coming back in recent years of of hyper evolved tails. God, do I wish I could, for like 5 seconds, be one of those things and smash my horrible tail weapon into the jaw of a cocky carnivore. I want to do that badly. I think I just want to flail. I should hurt people. Um, anyway, think of the coolest adaptation you know or the coolest behavioral system you know. Did you know meerkats have distinct languages? We have indeed confirmed that they do have specific words that represent certain things. It's one of, if not the most complex language that we know of in animals. Maybe even period. I don't know about that last part, but I definitely know it's the most complex language we know of in animals. Boom. There's a really interesting idea of this incredibly social, incredibly intelligent, very vocal animal that acts as living drones, I suppose, that notifies everything of what you do. You as in your main character and their cohort. I think that is a very neat angle you can take for your animals. Cunning in a human-like way, because we're not so different, you and me, from animals, and I don't mean that in a lame-ass anarcho-primitivist way, but I mean that in the sense of we're literally not that different. We have a lot of the same behaviors and goals and aspirations and ideas and whatnot. Isn't ethics weird? Now, obviously, for predators, just make them big, smile, because that's what we tend to do. By which I mean the giant grounds, Megatherium? No, Megatherium's the other thing. What am I thinking of? Ground sloth. Scientific name. That's not what I meant to type. Scientific name. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce. Megatherium. I was right. What the fuck? Was I? Is that what I said? Think of the giant ground sloth. Boy, do I wish I could fight one of those. Because it appeals to my my latent caveman instincts. the same way tall, muscular women do. No, they don't. Right. So I don't really focus on the carnivore aspect that much because, again, the intricacies of your monster design are going to be only known to you. Taps you on forehead. This is only going to be known to you because only you are writing your story, unless you are writing it with a group of friends, or with a group of close associates, or with a group of peers, or with strangers. I don't fucking know. Point being, it's hard to design these carnivores for a story or a world building piece. I do not know. Because these are the animals that, presumably, your main characters are going to encounter the most because that is what's going to challenge them the most, as that is, it gives you the most obvious reason for it of being aggressive predators. However you decided to go about doing this, that's good, I presume. But keep in mind the things I told you to lay out beforehand to avoid trapping yourself in this weird thing you don't really want to trap yourself in. Now, the environment itself. Hills pose risks. Cliffs pose obvious risks. Tar pits, sand pits, mud pits, right? Trying to think of another thing, but I am forgetting the word. Fjords, whitewater rapids, all this sort of shit can pose a threat to your main characters, of course. This is more so like a mapping thing. I'm not a map guy. I'm not a really big fan of like making a maps myself. If I have a vague idea in my head, that's good enough for me. I don't need to actually have the here and there. I'm gesturing and making clicking sounds with my tongue. I don't know if they picked up. But if you are, this is a great time to mark all of this down because it's naturally going to be relevant to your story. Either as a reason why they don't go this place, there, that place, or rather, or as a way to put that man in a situation. Because there's nothing better than putting a man in a situation. Boy, do we love putting people in situations. Situation max in this bitch. My point is, fuck out. If there was ever a time to bust out the maps and really mark down exactly where things are in regards to everything else and have it be, you know, plot or narratively or whatever impactful, this is the time to do it. Because, I mean, shit, dog, why wouldn't you? This is literally, like, ideal. I don't remember what I was doing. Oh, I was finishing up what I was saying. Now, finally, the last thing. Spitting in its face and living anyway, because this is the ideal fantasy every single human being has, I think. I'm not weird, I promise. I say being weird. Now, with all of these problems laid out before you, why is your main character here? How the fuck are they still here? And what does that represent about them? Are they relying heavily on magic? Are they relying heavily on seasoned adventurers who know what they're doing and teaching them their tricks and their ways? Are they relying heavily on old established paths and roads and resupply checkpoints and frontier towns to get themselves stocked up and continue pressing forward? And how does that impact your story? How does that impact your characters? How does that impact the environment around them? And how can you put that man in a situation right the fuck now? How can you make them get into a fight with the local wildlife, get hurt, and continue forward? How can you make everything tense and then have like this climactic moment and then continue forward? How are you going to embody the man versus nature archetype? This is your time to do it. This is your time to get all of that down. Everything that you prepped led up to this, and it better be fucking awesome, or I'll be a little bit sad and disappointed and whatnot. I think that's all I have to say. If you're wondering why this is being wrapped up quickly, it's because I really do. Because I really do want to get into that world building thing really quickly. Because I gotta set up the basics, then I gotta set up like the major players. I gotta wonder if I want elves and shit. I don't want elves. I know I don't want elves. I think I want dwarves, though. I don't think I would call. This is all stuff for me to figure out. I'd appreciate some help in this regard. I know I'm gonna have humans. I know I'm gonna have what amount to myconids. I know Null's gonna be thrown in there too. From there, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I don't even know if I want dragons yet. So I want this video out soon so that I can start working on that. I want to hear about your world building. I just want to hear about that. It's interesting to me. Thank you for watching this, and I hope you'll stick around for when I start actually world building in the future. Catch you next time, and remember, all that stuff I told you at the beginning, please slide me some of that things I said to you. Good night.